All right, so good morning, everyone. This is Billy with Technical Trading Levels. Today is our first day of we're starting our challenge to complete our Take Profit Trader account. As you can see on here, we have the Take Profit account. It's a fresh account. I made one small trade today just to test to make sure everything was live and working. So we are starting with this $150,000 account. We have a max daily drawdown of 3,300 allowed. So we're not playing this like a $150,000 account per se. We are watching our loss limits and we'll be playing MES. I'm joined today by my partner John, and we're gonna see how we can trade today. We are gonna keep it. We are going to keep it a little late today, considering all the big.
We're 1 minute to open. 1 minute to open.
1 minute open.
Yeah.
Yeah. Normally we'd play them opening, but today with such big movement over the last day or so, we're gonna just kind of watch and see. John on his personal account is a little long already, so.
Yep. I have a funny feeling that we're about to see the end of it here, though. We're getting wiki and coffee in the open. I bet we're going to have a little bit of a drawdown here.
Just to give you guys some insight, what we do, we run our own little private channel. We're also coming off a big play last night, as you can see here. Had 10 lots. We went short up here, sold down here. You can see we wind up hitting all our profits this morning. Woke up to hitting $1,500 per lot on runners. Closed out by the time I woke up sick. So here we are.
You can always thank your kids for that.
For real.
No, it was a beautiful overnight move, and it was an excessively large overnight Globex move. So,
it was beautiful.
It was, especially after the down day that we had yesterday, I was a little surprised to see so much movement overnight, but apparently things are not going well in the rest of the world. Boy, I'm glad I didn't close out my long. My goodness. Man, what a rocket.
Yeah, getting that opening juice.
Yeah. We're at it. Interestingly enough, we're at that critical volume level of, I think we're tapping out here. And what a rocket. We are above your key level of 4083 from the other day.
Yeah, it's changed a little bit, as you can see on the chart. It's 4081 now.
Yeah, creeping a little bit down.
And then here's our next big level. I mean, bears are in charge really until we could get above 4115.
Yeah.
So
we have it.
The long lines. The long lines are my bigger time frame pivots. So this one. So as you can tell, we broke through a main pivot here on the longer time frames. We broke through the second one. We haven't yet hit the third. We bounced on a shorter time frame pivot, but this big one is still open down here. So if they can't get over 4015, we will be revisiting, this 4050 area.
Right. Yeah, it's basically you're just following the structure of the market and how it's moved, and we've got to reclaim a lot of territory here shortly if we want to break out of this bear territory here. So, I don't think that there's anything going on in the marketplace today with respect to news cycle events. Even though we typically don't pay too much attention to the news, other than it gives the institutions cover to do what they want to do. The market is going to do what it's going to do. It has a particular bent or direction that it wants to go. And as you have seen over the last month, regardless of what the news is, the market makers take it in the direction that they want to go. Good news is bad news is good news.
Hey, as you guys can see, as John's talking, I went in with a little scalp there. Um, Honestly, it was an accident. I was trying to get in a starter position on my MES position. I didn't realize I was on ES for my own trading last night. But as you can tell, our account is already up $195 today.
What did Bob Ross call this? Happy accident?
Yeah. Now let's go to MES for this take profit account. Man, look at that! I got out of that mistake at the perfect time too.
Yeah, boy, we really got some juice here going into open. I've got a fairly large order block at 40.90. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing. Let me.
That was my entry last night. Remember 40.92.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know you and I are using slightly different tool sets, so I'm curious to see if what I'm doing aligns with you. We're getting really wiki and choppy though here, though. So I think that are you? I can't see. Are you in a MES short?
You can't see my screen.
Yeah, oh, no, I can. Yep,
Okay.
I can see it now.
Yeah, I'm looking to go short at this pivot here. And then here's a supply. We got a small supply zone up here, and then another pivot bracing that. So, I mean, they can run it today. This, since they took down overnight, they really cooled down a lot of the momentum indicators. So they do have room, and it's Friday. And lately, they've been, uptrend Fridays after downtrend Thursdays.
Yeah, Friday's been pretty good. Yeah, Thursdays have been bloody. Fridays have been bull market. I did go ahead and reverse my position. So
You're in short?
I'm in short with you.
Well, I'm not in yet.
Well, I went ahead. I'm seeing a lot of toppiness, and you know me, I like to get into positions too early. I'm Johnny Minuteman.
I have that tendency too, but since we're going to be teaching and showing the folks how to pass these tests, I'm going to be a little more specific on my entries.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think that one of the things that would be good to explain, and today is probably not a great time, but explain to people when positions begin to exhaust. You have to be careful because they like to end moves with volatility spikes.
Oh, of course.
And they can be fairly large.
They end the up moves with a volatility up, and they end the down moves with a volatility spike down.
Yeah, which is incidentally why you see with market structure, you'll see a lot of times significant moves and pivots associated with wicks, because that volatility spike really has no strength and leaves behind a telltale wick on the candle. Not to say that every candle is every volatility candle is going to have a wick in it, or that every candle with a wick is significant of a volatility spike, but they usually come at the end of a significant move. So,
look at this.
Look at this.
It's running away from my damn order.
Well, I have to say that one time I'm glad that I was Johnny 1 minute. Maybe it's going to come back here, but yeah, I think that level from the other day, 40.88, is we're still running away from that. So I don't know. Maybe we're going to have a little bit of a pullback here. Let's see what time it is. We've only been open for 7 minutes.
Yeah. 9:45. You usually start seeing a little shift.
Yeah. We want to get that first 15-minute candle burnout. And it's interesting to note that Billy and I both trade on the 5-minute time frame, whereas a lot of individual traders will trade on the 15-minute, trying to trade like an institution does, because a lot of times institutions will play the 15-minute time frame, but neither he nor I are an institutional trader, and a lot of times you're going to miss these scalp moves and the moves that go on in between the big moves when you're playing nothing but the 15. The 5 minute is a beautiful time frame to be trading on.
I agree. The way I have my chart set up though, everything I have, this is a 5 minute chart as you can see, but my pivots are from daily on down, so I have everything I need on this 5 minute chart. So I could even enter on the one. And if you could see, if I would have with you guys on the first day, not showing you all this, not doing it exactly like this, but as you can see, I could have came over to the 1 minute, see my momentum indicators topped out here, and took that short like John did. But for today, I'm sticking on the 5 minute just because, like I started off the morning and saying, we've had some big moves over the last day and a half, and I kind of want to get through the opening and see what type of range they're creating.
Yeah.
But normally we would have came down to the one and could have took this scalp here, but that's just kind of reiterating what John said.
Yeah, I think that it's important to note that the goal of this exercise is to get people through their test period for Take Profit Trader or whatever prop accounts they're on. So the goal is actually to trade safely. Everybody's going to have their own risk tolerance. Everybody's going to have their own particular playing styles. There are people that are going to want to trade more aggressively, that are going to want to use the shorter time frames, such as the 1 minute, or even, we've seen successful traders even using the 15-second and 30-second charts. The downside to that is you really have to know what you're doing. But one of the things that we like to use at tactical levels, in addition to our tactical pivots and levels, is like Billy said, we like to use a multi-time frame approach because it gives us an idea and a vision onto what the market is doing overall. And yeah, while it's great to have moving averages, and it's good to know in general where things are going, I would say that there are opportunities, when the 50 crosses the 200 moving average, the 200 crosses the 50, we all know what that means. But what happens when the 50 wants to cross back up over the 200, and you have a gap in between there, and it's a period of uncertainty.
Exactly. And also,
just like there's a clear way to trade moving average crosses.
What people don't realize too is a lot of moving crosses. Like, you could pull up a strategy on moving crosses and check its stats, and you'll see it's not very good. It doesn't hit very good because it's not just about the cross, because there's a lot of fake crosses that occur. See, this was a smooth one last night because you had the smooth breakdown. But if you go back, you'll see a lot of mixed up crosses where, see, cross down, cross back up. So you don't want to get caught up in this stuff here, and then you're going to get stopped out in this move. So how we really analyze it is where the cross is occurring in context of the market structure. So you don't want the crosses, you don't want a cross up occurring when you're above a key pivot. See, here's a key pivot. Here's a key pivot. Right here, my whites are key pivots. So you get the cross up, but it's above the key pivot. Yeah, you get a little run, but what happens? The waterfall.
Yeah.
So I like my crosses to occur. See, if you get a cross here, you got a main pivot here on a bigger time frame, this 41.15. So if you get a 50 crossover 200 underneath that, that's going to give it rocket fuel. And that type of rocket fuel, I would suspect to get up to 41.38 in this zone here. This is really, I don't have it marked. I do in my mind. This is a supply zone right here. But that's some of the nuances that you gotta really figure out and learn from screen time, because you can't just take the cross. The cross could fuck you because it could be a fake cross.
Yep. And by the way, I have exited most of my positions. I have a couple of runners left. But with this retest of the 4075 pivot, the tactical level, I am out of the majority of my positions.
Yeah, what I'd like to see here, where I'd like to get short, I'm going to take that off for now. What I like to see, because we had a little break of structure, small structure break. And so this goes back to what John was saying earlier about institutions. Institutions are known to trade on the 15, and some traders trade on that. We do, even though we're not institutions, we try to trade with the institutions, meaning as far as direction. So we don't like to just stab at positions. If you're having a breakdown here, right? Here's your breakdown. You see it. We had a change of character in the structure, a small break of structure on the internal here. So what we want to see is a retest come back into this area to determine whether it's going to keep going, or then on this retest do we go long in here, and that's how we operate this whole trading on a daily basis. And also,
yeah, I mean, I think it would be worth noting. What's that?
I was saying
Say that again.
I was just apologizing to everybody in case my voice is off. I'm a little under the weather today.
Well, that tends to happen when you get sick. I think all of my kids are down under the weather, although they're still both at school today. But no, I think it's really interesting to note. I mean, for those people that are kind of unfamiliar with market structure, can you briefly describe some of the key things you look for with what's going on with change of structure and how markets?
Well, you always want to stay on trend. So you're looking. See, I have my change of characters. They change, that's a change. That's an initial change in structure. You see, I have them red or green. So green means it was a bullish change of character. Red meaning bearish change of character. So just say you were observing the market here. This is last night. So you're observing the market, or was this last night? Yeah, last night, right?
Yeah.
I don't know bastards. So last night you came down here. I have the historicals off, so this low right here broke this structure. So this was bearish, right? So we don't get short there because you don't want to get short at a new low, right? So we wait to see up here. It does have a bullish change of character, but we also know it's stuck between a bullish and a bearish would have been here. So that means the market's indecisive, and if you look at the market from here to here, it's sideways action, right? But now we hit the supply zone and we start breaking down. Once we lose this pivot, let's see if I can open it up. Once we come down and we break through this pivot, see, we try to come back and retest it, but we can't close above it after we had closed below it. That candle closed below, then we tried to retest up, and look at all the wicks right to the pivot. That's telling you the pivot's failing.
Yep.
Remember, we had this break of structure negative here, so this was a great opportunity to get short right around here. And if everyone looks, I'll go into Discord real quick and show you that level I just showed you. Look at my entry. So 40.92.75 was my entry. Right there. I actually got in right there on this little wick.
Yeah.
But, and then you see I had the target already laid out for 62, and we ran to 60. And then from 60, my targets could also be used, you know this, John, because you're with me every day, and these guys may start seeing it as they start joining our group and stuff. A lot of times my targets can be used for a reversal point. So if you would have took 60, 62 I had, and went long, I mean, you turned around and made 26 points.
So I think it's interesting for everybody to know when we talk about trading level to level. I think this is a good example of it too. Look at the beginning of the down move that we have a nice long wick.
This one?
Yeah. So it's the beginning of that. You got about 4 candles down, and you actually hammer candle up off of a level. Look how beautiful that is.
This one right here?
It's that second. Yeah, look at that. I mean, absolutely beautiful action from a tactical level. But what we try to tell people, and the reason why it's not just a matter of taking the levels, it's also looking at the price action. Ideally, you would like to take off some of your position at that level, and then set your position so that it has a trailing stop loss, so that you don't miss out on the rest of the move. I mean, this move is very substantial. Getting, basically having pivots and stops at certain positions, but it just keeps going down and down and down. Without the proper sizing, you're going to miss a lot of that move. A lot of people are going to be, they're going to want to put on a position. They're going to want to take off 100% when it reaches its first take profit level. And if you don't leave runners, you're going to lose the opportunity to catch all that downside.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm never selling a position at the bottom or the top with full size on. I scale out along the way because the market is relentless. It could snap back on you at any given point, So, like for a perfect example, we're talking about we took this short here because of the break of the level. It bounced off this level, came back, tried to get through, couldn't. Some days it can, So to trim it up a little bit here isn't bad, right? Now, but look, like you talked about, we hit here, we came back up, right? So this should have been your entry point, because this is what you do. You see the break of the pivot here, right? This candle is the break, right? Now, you could have been an aggressive trader and had an order sitting here that as soon as this broke, you get in the position. Or, like I said, when we started this, you wait for a retest, right? So, remember you had this little bullish change of character? Well, this break here breaks that up, right? So, down, comes back up to test it. Look, change of character line is right here, right? It comes back up, tests the change of character line, and goes back down. So if you went short here, this blew through that first pivot straight here. Look, it wicked there. So that would have been a good take profit area. Now you sit and wait, right? No close below this pivot. No close below this pivot. This candle closes below the pivot. What does it do? It retests the pivot. Can't close above the pivot again. So you could even add scale into your position right here and get in more. And then boom, you see next pivot, tries to bounce, loses it. Then my pivot calculations did change, right? But we just kept on coming down. And overnight I had already had 62 as my take profit. And you could see it bottomed out at 60.75. So
yeah, and not to say that this pattern repeats itself, but we do see a lot of times where we're hitting the third take profit level before we have a reversal, a meaningful reversal.
All right, so market came back up after that little drop. They still look like they're trying to front. They're still trying to front run my pivot. They're using this old pivot, this left. See anything to my left side?
Yeah, they've been using that. They've been using that 4088 pivot. But we're looking like we're getting bullish, and we're wanting to get bullish here because we've got our moving averages that are kind of converging towards one another.
The only thing I don't like, so they are under the main pivot, the higher time frame, but currently right now,
Yeah.
the 200 is above the intraday pivot. So, not usually my ideal spot. I like to see. That usually tells me they could be upside, but it's usually not as big as if these were under here and this green was crossing the red while we were under this pivot. We could be looking for like a rocket squeeze type situation, and again,
Right.
it's because the algorithms are either buying or selling these moving averages.
Yep.
So here you can
And I
see.
think it's interesting to note.
Look at this. You got these are 5-minute
Yep.
candles. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, an hour on the pivot, right? I mean, an hour on the 50-day moving average. That's them accumulating. And if you look at the higher time frames, the momentum indicators have room to run today. And this is why I'm in kind of a sketchy situation. See, here you got that's a 4-hour, and we're pretty much bottomed out. The daily, however, because the daily got overextended with the squeeze, it has some more room, but we could be looking for a bounce on the daily at the 50 for one more time, because in my thesis, I think we're going to make one more higher high. I think we're going to have a lower RSI situation, but make a slightly higher high, maybe to here. 4240 is what I'm looking for, before the big collapse. And that could take us into, they could be range bound until CPI, and then we have that volatility, and then I think we crack from there.
Yeah, interesting. CPI is going to be an interesting number this time around because, gasoline is a big part of CPI, and gasoline is going back up dramatically. I believe it's increased 30 or 40 cents. So I think what we're in for is another round of surprise CPI numbers.
Yeah, and everything I'm reading, it seems like China has some control over our inflation currently, and since they're basically at a strategic war situation with us, a lot of people think that China's going to implement some things to drive up the world's inflation.
Yeah, which is super disappointing that the United States is so weak right now.
Oh my God, it's horrible. And well, it makes me laugh with this inflation thing, because they're like, oh, inflation's coming down. It's only like 7% or whatever, 6.7, whatever it was. But that's fucking comparing it year over year to where last year the shit was at a 40-year high. So
yeah.
What do you mean?
So we're at a 39-year high. Yay.
But not really, because you're still up from the year over year. So if last year was a 40-year high and you're 6% over last year, to me that sounds like we're making a new fucking 40-year high. So it makes me laugh how they fucking talk about this. I mean, I honestly think you're gonna have to go into a deflationary period in order to really clear this all up.
Yeah. Chamath is one of the guys from the All In podcast is talking about that, and he's talking about a disinflationary cycle of 5 to 7 years to clear out most of the junk money that's in the system.
Jesus.
I mean, think about that. That is just, Chamath is he's a well-known Silicon Valley investor.
Yeah,
and he believes that, yeah, he's a liberal. he's got some wacky ideas, but the guy is, he's pretty good when it comes to numbers.
We might get our first fill.
Yeah, man, it's just wanting to ride this range right here really hard. We're continuing to get poor earnings reports. I mean, Lyft was down like 25% yesterday. I mean, they got destroyed.
Yeah, I think I mean, this whole earnings season wasn't good, even though they've squeezed us and made it sound like everything is okay. I mean, the guidance, and that's what I look at in the earnings reports. The guidance has all been shit for the most part.
Yeah, everybody's guidance is off.
Did you see
35%.
Did you see fucking Disney just laid off 7,000 people?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's going into, of course, what everybody's doing is they're laying, as I saw the other day, they're laying people off in droves and then taking current cash flow and taking the savings from firing people and then just doing stock buyback. So that's artificially propping up the stock price. But there's only so long you can do that for.
Hell yeah. And I mean, it made me laugh too, the fucking employment numbers last week. 500,000 jobs created. How the fuck did that happen when every major company, it seems like there's a weekly announcement of a major company that's having, mass layoffs?
Yeah. What it is the only thing that it can be is these are shit jobs.
Either shit jobs, phony fucking numbers from the government, which wouldn't shock me at all, or those are government jobs.
Oh, man. Yeah. all at the IRS.
Yeah. They're probably fucking all IRS hires. Fucking idiots. Man, they don't want to give me my fill, bro.
They don't want to do anything right now. This is a super tight range.
Well, okay, so what I want you guys to see while we're on the phone, just to show you how good our levels are. Look what it's doing here again. We have a double level. We have the bigger frame, because remember I said the longer straight line is the higher time frame, and then the half lines are the smaller time frames. So you got a main pivot lined up with a support on the higher time frame. And now finally crack through, and when they do crack, either way, they go big. And see here, those fuckers, they man, I should have went to my other pivot.
Yeah, I'm still not sure that this is the move though. Like we've had so much back and forth, and 4075 has really done a good job holding things up today. I don't know. One of the things that I think might be worth pointing out is you have a lot of lines on your chart here. The white line is the main pivot, and maybe we can explain to everybody where that white line comes from and what it's kind of signifying.
I could even do this. Oh wait, I have that off already. Okay, so I took off. I like the historical ones on because, as you can tell, they use that historical pivot, right? So I took it off just for you guys for right now, show you different lines. So while John's helping explain it, these small lines within this range here, that's like the intraday pivots. These long lines that go all the way across, those are long time frame pivots. Yep. So you see, and the white is the main pivot. The purples are your first support or first resistance. The golds are second. The grays are third. And then these greens are usually what we use them for is hard reversals. So say this was falling down here, I wouldn't mind taking a scalp opportunity right on here. Like I said, usually we wait for confirmation, things to break and stuff. But these greens that I have are hard reversal areas. So you could feel comfortable trying to take a straight up scalp right from here, which I do a lot.
These are what produce what we were talking about earlier, which is definitive change of market structure. With it usually forms some sort of a V, a sharp V pattern, where you get a noticeable wick.
Well, what I want to show you too is, so see the pivots change here. I turned the historicals back on, but as this was coming down, right? remember we hit this green line basically, and I said what I tell you, green lines are hard reversals. If you had an order there, you had 2.5 point drawdown max, and for a 26-point gain.
Absolutely beautiful.
This is why I have this. This is why I keep my historicals on. And look, see this bottom right here? Come left. Look at the hard reversal there.
Always look left.
So
always look left.
And look what that gave you. I mean, that's just fucking sick. Like, it's just a rip.
Yep. That one trade, if sized properly, is a whole.
Bro, that's 20 fucking points. I was trying to see, because I'm on this. We're doing this videos for the people and trying to show them to be, how to be safer. And of course, today's the day it fucking doesn't get right to my pivot.
Well, and I told my short a while ago. Oh, it's just killing me. Look at that. Oh, just an absolute red rocket. But what I was going to say, I forgot to finish my thought earlier with the main pivot there. The white main pivot, you can think of that almost from a market structure standpoint of that's kind of like a center of gravity. Where price is going to want to gravitate towards that white line until you make a definitive move, either up or down. You got to have volume and you got to have an interest to get away from that white line, because it's kind of, you can kind of think of it as a just a magnet. Things are going to want a magnet back to it.
Yeah,
and you got to get away from the pivot.
You kind of think of it. It's almost like a VWAP.
Yeah, like almost like an anchored VWAP. That's your levels are traveling along with you as you're moving.
But again, I don't want to keep bragging, but I just want to show people, like, look how good these levels are.
Why would you not brag? I mean,
like, look at that. You could have scalped that for 6 fucking points on ES. That's 300 a lot, right? Just by using the level. There's so many times, like, we're not showing this in here. That's for our other private channels. This is just for passing, the tests. But like in my normal trading, if I was trading today, I would have scalped that. I would have scalped the first test of a support. And look what happened. I mean, that's just ridiculous. You go 47. Look at it. That's going to be 10 points. That's 500 a fucking lot right there.
Yeah, they're keeping it in a tight range today, which is, I mean, again, what we just said a minute ago. Price is always, unless it gets substantially away from that point of control, it's going to ride that white line. It's going to want to continue to magnet towards it. So I think this is no better proof of that. But yeah, the levels are just ridiculous. I mean, from what I'm seeing, this could have been traded at least safely at least 3 times since the market's opened.
All right, I'm going to try something here, just in case this is in breakdown mode from here. I'll stop into a position if it loses this pivot here.
Yeah.
And see,
so
that's the 50 day, that's the body, so that's where activity stopped, right? This is just wick. So liquidity grab, you got a bullish candle forming right here. So I'll stop in on momentum if this rejects here.
Yeah, stopping in is a technique that can be used just like a limit order can. The difference between those two is kind of insignificant. They both fill an order and will do so upon reaching a level or momentum. But the stop order is really used to catch something. The limit order is to catch something in anticipation of a reversal. The stop order is used to catch something that is moving in a particular direction. So
trying to catch momentum,
you want to have
continuation.
Yeah. So and if we continue on in the bullish direction, the limit order will get filled. But if we break down here and sell a stop, we're doing so at a safe position.
And
because we know
usually those plays I'll take off at the first pivot. At least,
Yeah.
At least a couple of them.
But I mean, look. So that's you got your sell stock, what 40.75 ish. I mean, we're picking up almost 10 points to that next nearest level, and I mean that trade alone, if sized properly, can make your whole day.
Yeah, and the key is because you didn't jump in. So look, this keeps going. Your feelings aren't hurt here. Like you don't care,
No.
right? Because this was just to see. Okay, if this was going to continue, if we're breaking down here, I'm going to jump in and get on the breakdown. But if it goes up, you're like, okay, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you
And
know, it's so much better than attempting to be like, oh man, this is going to keep going, and I get in short, and now it runs this way. You don't want that. There's no sense. You get in here when the bullish structure is broken. I mean, and you have so many confirmations. You got the 50-day, you got a flat bottom here. This was a liquidity grab, like I said. So it grabbed this liquidity again. If it wants to break, if this bullish candle turns on the next one and rockets down, it's going to be a momentum type candle, a big candle like this was.
yeah. Yep. And that's the thing. The reason why this is a safer play to have limits above and stops below is because, you know, technically we are still we're basically 20 minutes away from the end of initial balance. Initial balance is wildly volatile, and we don't want to fill an order and then have it run away. That's not the goal here. Now, you know, we're wanting to keep you properly sized for getting you through your trial period for Take Profit Trader. The goal is never to get close to your max daily drawdown. We would prefer to trade for you to trade levels, you know, where we are right now. We're at a period of indecision. We're in between levels. That means that we could chop around for a while. There is no benefit in taking a trade right now. All anybody would be doing in this instance would just be guessing. You may turn out right, but it's not worth the guess. Your max daily drawdown is a hard number. If you hit that, you have to restart your test again. So it's not worth gambling and taking a position out of order.
Exactly. As I'm putting limited orders on to gamble. Well, what I'm waiting for here. So what I'm waiting for really is I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for price to make a higher high, break over here, with a lower high on the RSI.
Right. Yeah, we're looking for what's called divergence.
Which would create some bearish divergence. And you can see here,
Yep.
see these red dots I have, and the green dots, red dots? That's something I've just added on. It's showing me not off mine, just off like a regular RSI. That's telling me RSI entered the oversold zone. RSI entered the oversold zone here. RSI entered the overbought zone here.
Right. And RSI is, and you can see why trading RSI is a dangerous proposition if that's the only thing that you're trading. Because look how many dots we had to the left. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 before we had a modest reversal.
Yeah. And those I just use for place marks, you know, like that's to tell me, okay, maybe I should start looking for long opportunities. That don't mean I go long. That's when I start looking for long opportunities. So remember, we broke this pivot here, right? So these came up when this pivot was broke. I don't give a shit about this right now because I know my target is the next pivot, right?
Yeah.
Because it broke a pivot, so you expect it to test the next pivot and then maybe reverse. But you follow what I'm saying? So until I see a pivot holding, now here, pivot holding, right? Break down a little bit, but when you see an initial breakout and close above, that means it's really fighting for that pivot. So you wait. Again, look, broke, right back up above. That should be your trigger right here to get in.
Yep.
You knew you were in. You knew the RSI was in. Look what they fucking did to my order, John.
They front ran it again.
They're
afraid of.
They're
afraid of Billy.
They know we're doing this video today.
Yep. Somebody at JP Morgan is watching your live feed right now.
This is fucking bullshit, bro. They front ran me by.
Oh, it's what, two ticks?
75 cents.
Jesus.
There
But,
you go.
but I think this is a good thing to reiterate with RSI, because I used to be a big naked RSI trader. So before Billy came up with this strategy for tactical levels, there really was no reason or meaning behind differentiating between RSI signals. I mean, you can look at RSI, yeah, it'll give you some clues, but the problem with RSI is, if you'll notice, if you'll look left, Billy, you may get your order here filled. If you look left and you see all those green dots, if you were to nakedly take RSI divergence, you can see that you're in for potentially a big drawdown. You're going to have to outlast some real pain before you ultimately get your reversal. And the problem is that if you entered on that very first RSI divergence, you're going to maybe break even if you haven't sized correctly by the time it's come back. That's a very modest reversal on. So that's why RSI is it gives clues. But I want to reiterate something that Billy said a minute ago, that RSI does not give you it doesn't give you a clue to enter a position. It merely is there to tell you, hey, start looking for something. So I want to make sure everybody knows that. Indicators are great. Rarely does one indicator by itself alone, like you'll see thousands of YouTube videos on, I have a 95% success rate on just trading MACD crossover, or I found a way to trade Stoke RSI divergence, or all that's bullshit, complete bullshit. We all know times where market makers will take a position and they will run it. They'll absolutely wring every last drop out of a move, where you thought it just couldn't drop. It couldn't drop. Oh, it's not going to drop anymore. Or, oh, it's not going to go anymore. Oh, they're not going to squeeze us anymore. And you absolutely get wrung out, squeezed to death. Often, this is a great example of it. Often, you'll get multiple divergences in a row, and you've got to you'll see multiple. And we don't know what multiple means. That could mean one. It could mean 17 of them. But you're going to get them before a move happens. The question is, which ones are meaningful? Well, hell, nobody knows. The meaningfulness comes in the confluence of an RSI or an indicator in combination with a tactical level. And you just gotta keep that in mind, that there's no such thing as a single silver bullet indicator. They just don't exist. So looks like we may be going up to grab your order, Billy.
Yeah, I limped in with a couple. I was getting impatient.
Oh, I see. Dang.
Was just
now you feel.
Was just proof to everybody what not to do. But we've been on this video and I hadn't been able to take a real position. So, but this is what I was a little concerned with.
Hey.
I told you this would make a higher high, right?
Right.
And a lower high on the RSI. Look, so you got big divergence that way.
FOMO gets the best of us, buddy. Every one of us.
Well, they don't know. I typically trade heavy ES lot. So this is,
Yeah,
there's
this
a
is
lot,
challenge.
there's a lot lighter risk here.
Yeah. No, but look at we're getting some good price action here. I noticed we just created a supply zone above.
Well, look
Right
left,
where.
right? Look left. What I tell you, always look left. Here's a pivot. What did it do on that pivot?
Yep.
To the tick. Now we might have some momentum running here. I might have to.
If you guys can't tell by now, though, the levels are absolutely impeccable. Yeah, I'm short here as well with you.
I'm putting a tight stop on this in case this wants to keep running. So what I'm doing is I'm coming to this high over here and going slightly above it, which also lines up with slightly above the high we're in.
Yeah. Which is a reasonable place to be. I mean, when you want to take a stop loss, you want to take a tight stop loss, and there's no reason to throw away excess cash. This is an instance of where if we get momentum, it'll be a break of that structure that Billy and I were talking about. Anytime you've had a break of structure, you need to be wary about what's going on. But that's a good indication that the momentum is probably going to continue. But it looks like we're gonna slide out of this position. That's good. I got a little bit higher of a build than you did, so I'm sitting here at 0.
So you can
But,
see,
this
see
is
what
part
I'm
of-
doing. I'm setting up some orders to close out at pivots to start trimming.
Yep, and don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. That's if something that we can reiterate over and over and over again, and we're going to pound into people's heads. Do not get greedy on your positions. Do not keep a full position past target profit level number 1.
No, and as you can tell, I usually like to do 40 to 60% of the position closed at first take profit. This way, because it's not even about taking profit, it's about de-risking, right? So, because you always got to think about it, one day you're going to be good enough to trade, those 5 ES. Well, $50 a point, you don't want to take too many chances. So, you go from
that
5,
racked up fast.
It comes back down here and you reduce from 5 to 3. You reduce your risk $100 a point on ES. You know what I'm saying?
While maintaining your already basically taking your already realized profit.
Yeah.
So now effectively, like you taught me, this becomes a not a risk-free trade. If you want to, it doesn't always have to be a risk-free trade, but you can set this up so that your runners or your half position or whatever essentially becomes a risk-free trade.
Yeah. I mean, I'll still keep my stop loss a little behind my entry. To where maybe the whole trade winds up being a complete break even. I just don't want it to go from green to red. But on small plays like that, I'm not looking to make like a fortune or anything. You know what I mean? Like I just want to, get a little bit out and protect it. Be safe. This is all about protecting, especially in these tests. Like yes, I do trade differently than this on my personal account. Like honestly, I wouldn't have a stop right here if I only had 5 MES on my personal account, because I'd be looking to add up here.
Right. Because and you guys will all become familiar with this over time. We're not getting into a position blindly. we're taking this on levels, and when we've entered a position, it's been thought about, and so if we haven't successfully entered a position, the next level up, the levels are spaced in such a way that they're not so far away from one another that they're gonna produce massive drawdown. So you're going to have an opportunity to re-enter, and we'll talk to you guys about re-entry or how you effectively double up, or even more than double up your position to offset any drawdown. But the way that the levels and the way that we're going to be entering the levels is going to be such that there's no perfection in this business. There's no perfect entry. This is all about probabilities and statistics and getting a most likely entry. There'll be times when this fails. There'll be times when you get a small stop loss. But the goal is the goal ain't a winning percentage. It's not to be perfect.
Yeah,
perfection
if you play for perfection, you get mentally sideways a lot, and it just fucks with you. You gotta keep going. You gotta take your losses, take your wins, and at the end of the day, if you're getting 70% win rates, I mean, which we hit very consistently, you're gonna be profitable at the end of the day.
Yep. And that's what we all want, is daily profitability. We're not looking to hit it out of the park every day. Slow and steady wins the race, especially when it comes to getting you through your trial period for take profit traders. Consistency is going to be perfection and home runs every day. As a mentor of mine used to tell me all the time, simple success swinging singles. We don't try to swing for the fences. We're not trying to hit home runs. We're just getting simple success swinging singles every day.
Now, interesting. Look what they're trying to do here. So, they're trying to base at this pivot. They're trying to flip this pivot to support. If they flip this pivot to support, we've seen the type of runs they could go on. But now here we switch over and we look at the 15. The 15 now got an RSI overdone signal. The 30 still has room to go though. See, so you do have to scan your other time frames to see what's going on here.
Yeah, and the 4 hours just coming out of bullish divergence. So
yeah,
we got some
the 4 hour just got a bullish divergence sign. So shorts may be over today. But
yep. And I may go ahead and trim some of my position here. We came back down to that 40.93 level. Glad I didn't close it out yet. As you can tell, I'm a more skittish trader than Billy is.
No, I don't know if they're going to get to the pivot. See, they're bouncing on this pivot here.
Yep. Well, I cut half my position, so this is now, as we said a minute ago, a risk-free trade for me. I basically have my runners set to break even, and they are about. Come on, baby. Yeah, I think overall today, with the price action going down last night, we had a nice drawdown yesterday. I think they've cooled the higher time frames off enough to give us some room to run today.
Yeah, I think they're gonna squeeze up. I've been saying it. I've been saying we're gonna get.
Yeah.
We're gonna, this is just bull trapping, bear trapping, because they're in chop now after these big moves.
And we got 3 minutes left in this for balance.
So obviously we're at the IB high.
Yeah.
we're coming into the end of IB at the IB high.
Which I would
What do you
kind
got
of
for-
expect
what
for
do
us
you
to
got
go
for the,
down a little bit here.
What do you got for the IB midpoint? I don't have my IB indicator on.
I don't either. I don't have it on. I stopped looking at Okay, I closed out of my position, so I'm break even. I'm out flat. If I was a betting man, I would think that we get a drawdown here after IB. We basically ran hot all of IB.
You can see I adjusted my stop loss a little tighter, just in case this gets that volatility spike candle up.
Yep.
I mean,
towards the end of IB, you want to definitely de-risk and de-leverage.
Well, see that gray, the gray box I have running across my screen, that's supply. So they're trying to flip that fucker. They're trying to flip this whole area from supply resistance into support, and you see it basing.
I think that's an important thing to show to people, because I think that people get they get binary when it comes to supply and demand. They think supply is only supply and demand is only demand, and it only behaves. Each of them only behave one way, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about tactical levels is we figured out that supply is supply until it isn't anymore. Demand is demand until it isn't anymore. What you can see is, like Billy talked about with the supply zone, depending on how they decide to push this can actually become a demand zone. So you got to be careful about not being myopic and seeing, this is, what Billy's come up with is a multifactorial trading platform. We're not seeing the market by one way. We like to. A lot of people will say, "Oh, well, that's a supply zone." What you actually did was they will flip zones from supply to demand. So wherever you had a supply zone previously, that's now flipped to become demand. You may not remember that exactly if you're not marking out those levels, but it's something good to, and I think it's a different way of looking at the market than most people consider supply and demand. I think, when I hear supply and demand, I think of those as fairly rigid things. And one thing that I've learned from Billy is that they're really the supply and demand. Well, it's interesting. Looks like we're headed up here.
Look, they're flipping it, trying.
Yep. Yeah, they're definitely basing here where most people would call this a a bull flag or whatever. But yeah, they're trying to build support here.
Trying.
It's interesting to watch. Yeah, it's interesting to watch how they do this. With something in our group the other day, I've become somewhat intimidated by.
You're getting some weird internet connection with your voice. Yeah, you sounding robotic.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Okay, cool.
See.
Sorry, I must have.
Another thing I want you guys to take note of. See, there was no close. There was no closes above this pivot so far.
Yeah.
And no closes below. Once it got up here and started trying to break out, no closes below the supply zone. See how it keeps hitting that line and fucking pushing back up? we just got a wick through so far here. Look, same thing, wick, and now it's fighting in there. So that shows you there's a battle, and this could be a dangerous zone. Meaning it can flush from here, but it can also rocket out of here. Because when it comes out of here, it's going to come out of here with force. Because right now it's sucking
this is not a safe place to trade.
Right now it's sucking up all these orders.
Yeah.
And usually this is a sign that they're trying to convert supply into demand.
Yeah, I think this is all really fascinating of how they convert zones. Really.
See, they're still fighting.
I don't know though.
Look, they're still fighting this pivot though. It's got to get a break below this pivot, like a close below that pivot, in order for maybe some downside. But again, we could hit this pivot and bounce back up, or we could not even hit my pivot. See how it can't get out of that supply zone? Like close out? Here we go.
Yep.
45 seconds. So what you'll see too is the last 30 seconds of the candle, last minute, but the last 30 seconds really, is what they really want to do with that candle.
Yeah, they let price action just walk around for a little bit. And then all of a sudden it'll explode off in one direction towards the end of the candle.
So the safe play at this point would be to close this position, but I'm going to still let it run with the stop in place. I have a feeling we're going to get stopped out, but just from the price action.
Yeah, I think this is a great example though, because I think a lot of people would have jumped the gun and got short again. You know?
Well, see, I messed up because here's my mess up. My entry should have been at my pivot. If you remember, it was at my pivot, and then I got antsy because we're on live and I haven't been able to really execute a trade. So I jumped in early here with a little bit. But my entry should be here, so we should really be like 8 ticks positive and never really gone negative. I honestly, I messed this one up a little bit on entry. You've seen what my original entry was, but I got a little FOMO for the people.
Yeah, it'll happen in the beginning.
One thing to take note of as they're maneuvering this, the RSI wasn't reacting too much. It wasn't really going down, so they weren't clearing out the RSI in this move. That doesn't mean they still can't go up, but they weren't. See how they're starting to clear it out here?
Yeah, I have a feeling, could be totally wrong, but all of my indicators are giving me, they're giving me the indication that we're going to go down here. We're really pretty overcooked on the 15-minute. It'll be interesting to see what they do here. I mean, we really, it's basically a dragonfly doji that we have. Of course, my supply zone just got invalidated.
Yeah, so did mine. See, it came off the screen. So, like I told you, it looked like here it
and it comes back again.
Well, they got to close outside of it one way or the other for the level to break.
Yeah. Well, we've got so much time left on the clock. I mean, we're getting nothing but wicks here. So, if you're in a position, like Billy said, we just don't know what to do here. I mean, we do have the only thing that gives me pause and makes me think that we're going to go down here is that we are butting up against a very strong level of 4,100. usually round levels are pretty aggressive numbers.
I mean, just I'm gonna open this up a little bit. Look at all the wicks, both sides.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't not just to the top, but it's to the down. That just shows you there's a battle here. But like I said, usually when this battle is occurring, like right at a resistance or under a resistance, it's usually a form of a sign of accumulation. To where they're trying to take it, you know, they want to go up and they're accumulating. So what they're doing is buyers are absorbing all the sell orders that are stuck in there.
Yep.
Look at this. Look look at this. It cannot close outside of the zone. Up or down right now. You know, what I would like if we in our trading room, we, you know, I would have advised already probably cut this. You know, when you got into small green, just to fucking
Yeah.
you know, because instead of sitting here for a fucking half hour waiting for this fucking play. Now this is interesting. We're in our last minute, right, of the candle,
Yeah.
and it's starting to break. It's starting to break out.
Yep. Well, and I think this is something that we've talked about a whole bunch, and like I was talking about a little bit ago, these guys know exactly how to keep price at a level that keeps both sides interested, and so they're just waiting for one side to capitulate.
Yeah, for sure. But before that capitulation happens, they usually, like if they want to take this down, there should be one more spike up.
Yeah.
Which is going to stop me out.
My lord, we're going to get another freaking doji candle.
All right, come on. Just go test that pivot. Just go test that pivot. Come on. See, it can't break that previous left pivot. There we go.
There we go. They're waking up again off of it.
All right, so
there we go.
Now we're 15 ticks to the good. 16. Boom.
Yep, there you go.
And there's my original entry, John, because see how I built it?
Yep.
Now, guys, now we're going to move this stop. We're going to move this stop right above the supply zone. So it's a small loss. We got 24 ticks in profit, up $90. We've already cashed in 210 for the day. If we close right here, we've already made $300 since we started doing this. And remember, we're trading small. I might actually, I'm going to take off one more here just to be safe.
Yeah.
Put a little
boy, we hammered back up off that level.
Yeah, and look at my levels. Like, I mean, to the tick. Reaction to the tick. So now here, if that level breaks, we're looking for this level, right? So that's why I have an order sitting there ready.
Yep.
Now we're already...
And this is the beauty...
So we've gotten off 3 out of 5, right? We have a stop loss that's basically a break even, right? Right behind break even. So this is a winning trade no matter what, because we already got 3 off in profit. We got 2 left. Stops basically break even. So this is a free trade. So we've worked ourselves into a position that we have no more worries. Whatever happens on this trade happens, right? Who gives a shit?
Yep.
We get stopped out. We get stopped out. We don't get. It hits our targets. We're jumping up and down for joy because we're like, look at that, you know. And now we don't have no stress. And now we don't look for another play. That's the key. Even guys in our top trader group, they keep switching positions, right, back and forth.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're gonna get caught in that chop.
Yeah.
The key thing to do is to stay in your position till your position's over. Even if a reversal happens and you missed it, that mentally gives you time to reset your focus and then look for the next play instead of being in the moment in the market, switching back and forth. You got to be really fucking good at that. Look at this, 40 ticks.
Man, what a beautiful play! I did go in short again with you.
I'm gonna take one more off
Yep.
just because I'm like getting the profits. Like, look, we're already up $280 on a small trade, people. Like, this is not how I normally trade.
Yeah.
I almost added in 5 more up here, which would have gave us 10. Which this would have been that would have been perfect because we would have been day over already. But
Yeah.
this is our first day recording, so taking a little easier today.
Yep. Now, we want to keep in mind, the goal here is not to overtrade. The goal here is just to hit the daily profit goal that allows us to, in the aggregate, by the time we have traded our account, in an efficient manner, to be done with our training on the prop account. So the goal is not to knock it out of the park. The goal is not to have a $10,000 day. Take Profit Trader will actually punish you for having an outsized day. Really, they want to see consistency. They want to see profitability. They want to see a sound trading strategy. They don't want to see fast trades, something under a minute. They don't want to see bot activity. They don't want to see you getting lucky. They want to see you thinking about things and doing things correctly.
Exactly. Plus, you can't have one day that's more than 50% of your total profit in the test period. So, like, our test period is for 10 grand, or 9 grand. So,
boy, look at your level.
You can't
Look at your level.
Look at that.
I mean, beautiful.
And remember what I told you, the 200 being above the pivots doesn't typically bode well for support. This will hold some support, but what I'm saying is, remember I said the crossover when it's above pivot is not as strong.
Yeah.
Bro, it's amazing how small of a play this is with 5 MES and the profit we put in already.
Yeah, baby steps are boring, but the safety is worth it. I really think.
So now we're gonna move this stop. We're gonna use that supply zone line right here, just to put it in. We're 40 ticks profit, so I may not.
Yeah.
I may even want to move it down here, just so we'll trail this. We'll trail this to the wicks, and we'll stay like slightly above the wicks. That gives us 16 ticks stop out on the runner, because you don't want to give up. You don't want to go from 40 ticks to 0.
Now that's when trading becomes demoralizing.
In my personal account, I would hold this above here because I set things and forget it, and like a lot of times I'm trading 10 ES lots at a time. So if I've already scaled out and I'm down to 1, I've already cashed huge profits, so I don't give a shit about this one runner.
Yeah.
But
no, it's just there. It's just there in case. It's a golden lunch ticket. It's just there in case.
Yeah. Like I said,
this is interesting. It looks like we could be in for a little bit of. Looks like we got a little bit of a tweezer bottom here.
Tweezer bottoms is one I never really got into, so I'm gonna leave that for you.
What are you not Elliott Wave fan either?
No. Yeah, I'm the fan of my account looking like an Elliott Wave.
Oh man.
Look at this. You know what? For the sake of this, because we are here, we go. We're moving the stop here.
I've
What I
got some
tell you,
other
look,
indicators.
we're shooting for. So what I'm going to do here too, just to show you, to play it safer. See this pivot here? I'm not going to use the bottom. I'm going to come slightly up right there, and go slightly
Yeah.
above it.
I think we've got a lot of downside coming in though, and I know you're not a big fan of it, but I am a Bollinger Band fan, and we're the last couple of candles on the 15 minute. We're well outside the bands of upside bands of Bollinger. So it looks like we're going to at least come down to 40.75. So we'll see.
Well, look at another thing. The 50-day moving average is right on this main pivot here, so that's going to act as a support level. Also
Yeah.
a magnet. It should get here
Yep.
because of the magnet situation.
That's funny how all that we get influenced there, though, because that's the middle of the Bollinger Band is sitting right at the 15-minute Bollinger Band is sitting right at 40.75.
And look, so this is a high time frame big pivot. My new pivot calculation on the intraday is here, the main pivot, right?
Yep.
These two zones, when they're so close together, they act as it's confluence, and it acts as a support, or if it was above, it would act as a resistance. Now look, level to the left, level to the right, right? So if you were to look at it like this, here's the level left, level right. That's really a supply zone, and look what it did.
Yep.
That's how awesome these levels are.
Yep.
And look at us. We got into a situation where our stop loss now is, what's that, 28 ticks. Our stop
Yep.
loss.
It's in profit.
28 ticks to profit is our stop loss. That's pretty sweet. When you're trading like that, you know you're doing well.
Yep. No, and at this point, this is a stress-free trade. I can sit and watch it do what it's going to do. I have high confidence that 40.75 is the target. But if we don't get there, we don't get there.
Now, one thing I want you to start observing, see how this candle broke here? There's a gap in the bodies. That's usually a sign that there's a reversal going to be coming. See how there's that slight,
Oh.
I mean,
That little slight
somebody
gap.
may
Boy,
laugh
that's
at it and be like, that's 25 cents. It doesn't matter. The auction got broke right there. There should be no gaps in the bodies. See? Body to body.
Yep.
When there's ever a gap, it fills the gap. Look, there was a gap from this candle down in here. What did it do?
It filled it.
It cleaned up the gap. Look
Wow.
at this gap. Yep.
Man, we're aggressively red, though. We got to, yeah.
Guys, we hit up. There we go. Our first trade live for you guys has been a complete success. No stop outs. All profit targets hit. We're up $357 playing 5 MES on one trade.
As beautiful as it can be.
I mean, this is how you're supposed to trade, and this is how we trade on a daily basis. So this isn't like a fluke. This is our first time actually recording and setting this up live to be able to start training for prop account test passing. But this is, me and John have been together in our private group for over a year, and he can attest this is how we trade every day. We will do the series until we become funded on this account. Like I said, we showed you guys everything. We're going to be completely transparent, wins, losses, account status. That's why I have this open showing you guys what we've done. We started with a fresh account today. Already added in a nice profit trade. That's our morning trade. We will come back for an afternoon trade. We're going to take a little break. And this is what I like to do after I make a successful trade, is break away from the market, reset, and then see what new structure has formed, and then start looking for our next entry.
Yep, I think that's a beautiful way to think about things. Is once you've had a blowout success like this, there's no reason to get back into the market quickly. It's good to reset. It's good to clear your head. It's good to get in a better frame of mind and let the market do what it wants to do. Then come back to it later. This move is going to do what it's going to want to. It's going to want to finish one way or the other. And let's not try to predict it. Let's not try to figure it out. Although I think it's going to end at 40.75. We'll let it do what it wants to do, and then we'll come back later. And like Billy said, we'll see what structure it created.
Exactly. Because there's no sense in, like, right now you're amped up, right? You just hit your trade, you're winning. Even in my old days, I'd want to jump back in, be like, okay, let's go short here, or maybe I'm going to play the reversal back. There's no sense. Why give up? Why give up what you've already put into the pot? Let this move come to its completion, and then reevaluate and get in your next position. The market gives many entries throughout the day, whether it be for a scalp or whether it be for a 20-point move. The market gives out opportunities all day long. You want to be fresh and clear-minded to know what you're attacking, because there are times that I'm just attacking scalps looking for 5 points, and then I size up on those and I get out really fast. Or like this was a play we stayed in for, what did we stay in? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 minutes.
Yep.
There's scalp plays where I'm in the play for like maybe a minute and a half. Now you got to be careful doing that on Take Profit Trader, because like John said earlier, they don't want 30-second trades. So for Take Profit Trader, we're typically looking for these type of plays, and that's why we're playing MES. So we can play the play out to its fruition.
So let's give people, before we head out here, let's give people who might be a little disappointed in, even though your head's not on right if you're not happy with almost $400 in profit. But what happens when you start scaling this up to look like ES instead of MES? Basically, you can take this and multiply it by 10.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part. Like, I was thinking about, like I said, I'm going to ease into this, being comfortable on the video side of it. I'm obviously comfortable trading. But here, when I seen this rejection occurring, I would have normally jumped in with at least 5 more, maybe 10 more. Remember, we had a 5 position. If I would have got 5 more in, our profit would have been $600 on this trade. If I would have got 10 more in, which how I like to do things, John knows how I like to use my scales. So, first scale would be 5, second scale is 10, and that's to pull the price higher to my second entry. If we had 15 on this play, this is almost $1,000 trade.
Yep.
On MES. Where most people don't think you could do that with MES. So then you put $1,000 into this one trade, we're done for the day. Since we did a smaller trade, we're gonna have to come back and take one more attempt, because we're trying to reach a daily goal here of like $750 a day.
Yeah, and I think we'll leave it to everybody to do the math on what that would have been if we would have been trading this ES. The profits would have been unimaginable.
Oh my Lord, if that was 5 ES, like my normal trades, that's a $3,500 trade.
Right.
What we just showed.
And I think all of us can easily do the math on what happens to your life when you make $3,500 a day.
For real.
I think that's, it's good to keep in mind. That's ultimately where Billy and I want to go with you guys. The goal is not to keep you low and slow forever. The goal is to be the tortoise here for a little bit, to get the fundamentals down, to get you guys understanding how all this works, and then slowly to turn up the volume over time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you'll see once we get this account to like 155, 154, we're gonna start playing heavier. And that's how you should do things. When you're starting something, you build yourself a base. And you build yourself the confidence, the base, and then you start taking your gambles when you're already in profit. Like, we don't want this account to be down to like 147 and then trying to like claw back. We want to build this thing up to like 153, 154 slowly, and then the couple days after that, then we start playing, 10, 15, 20 MES, not at one time, but in scale-ins. But then that's when we start really juicing the profit. But we're starting from a place where we're playing with profit-free money.
Right. Yep.
And that's the whole key to all of this.
Yep. Walk, crawl, run. I mean, in the right order. Crawl, walk, run. We don't want to start out in a sprint because that's going to get into a position where I think a lot of traders will get overconfident way too early. They're going to blow up their account, and they're going to have to restart their prop test account. So really, you got to just trust us. You got to go slow in the beginning. Let's build up speed over time. And as I've noticed, we didn't quite hit my target of 40.75. We hit a pivot level of 40.78, but it's good enough.
And what I want to reiterate while we're talking about that, what did I say when these two zones are together?
Yep.
This creates demand, right? Or if it was above, it creates supply. Look what happened to the tick. There's nobody out there right now that will teach you guys this stuff, show you this stuff that has levels like we do. Like,
nope.
I mean, I do like to brag, but I don't even need to brag because I just have to keep this up and you guys look at it yourself and look at what each pivot, what the reaction was. You telling me this wasn't a strong pivot here? Not one close above it. Wicks. Right? You telling me this little zone wasn't strong on first touch? I mean, 40.78, 40.86. That's 8 points. That's $400 a lot on ES.
And for any geeks who are interested, and we'll get into this at another time, really where we rejected from was something called a golden pop, and that occurred inside of a supply zone. And we got a lot of stuff to teach you guys. We got a lot of stuff to show you guys. Some really cool things that we figured out. It's all, but this is, like we said, this is all a learning process. So pop in with questions. We'll do the best to answer them. We can. If anything was unclear, although I think what Billy described today was super clear. Everything was laid out in advance. It should be easy for you guys just to, even if you're taking the levels that he's given and putting them on your charts manually and then copying your limit and stop orders, that's the easiest way to follow along with what we're doing.
Yeah, and in our private room, which you guys, will be coming to pass these tests and everything, in our private live room, you'll be on a live chat with us, seeing all this in real time. You'll hear our communication. If you have a question, you could always pop that in the chat, and one of us will answer that question. But this is going to be fully interactive to where all you have to do is follow along with us. We're going to make this so simple for you on an everyday basis to, not only pass this and become a funded trader, but to continuously profit from this and change your lives. And that's when it gets really fun. Once we become the pro trader and we build ourselves up a little cushion and we start playing with ES to add to build our account values, you could see and you could assume how fast that's going to really grow and how big and life-changing that's going to be for everybody.
Yep. And this is, a couple of hours a day. And you can completely change your life.
Yeah, and like John will tell you, there's a lot of times I'm done before the lunchtime, done for the day, hitting massive goals. So sometimes
you're done before the market even opens.
Well, yeah, I mean, like last night, you know, I woke up this morning, I had two ES runners ran, you know, that I had price targets on. John will tell you, I think I showed you guys in the chat earlier in our private group, while I was sleeping, two runners closed out for $3,000. So
Yeah, how would you like to wake up to $3,000 of profit in the morning? You basically could just go back to bed.
The funniest thing is I didn't even know. Timmy put in the chat, hit you 62, because I had just woken up because I wasn't feeling good today, and the first thing I seen when I seen the message on my notification on my screen that Tim said, hit you 62. I pulled up my account. I was like, huh, thank you. I just
Yep.
rolled out of bed and I got $3,000, and now I gotta wake up and do this live.
Yeah, but you got everybody well on their way. Like I said, we'll come back later, but you got everybody well on their way to the first stepping stone of passing their Take Profit Trader account trial period. So that's what we're here for. That's what our goal is.
Yeah, we hope you like this video. We hope you learn some stuff today. And as we continue this process and build out these videos, we hope that you could see what we're doing here is the real deal and can help really help change your life. And that's what we're trying to do. We've already gotten to a point in our own group where this is all second nature to us, and we've already changed our lives, and we want to give back, and we want other people that are struggling right now to learn how to trade this market and really take their future into their own hands.
Yep, because we know that the government is not working in your best interest. Your job may not be working in your best interest. This is something you can do to become self-sufficient.
Hell yeah. I mean, you nailed it, bro. In today's times, with the ever-changing landscape of the economy, AI coming in where it's going to take out a lot of jobs, this is a skill that the market ain't never going anywhere, right? This is the rich make too much money on the market. So this is a skill that will set you up for life no matter what direction the economy goes.
Well, I think those are beautiful words to end this on.
Perfect. All right. Well, good day to everybody. Like we said, hope you enjoyed it, and look for our next video, which may be this afternoon, that we're going to post out onto YouTube. Have a good rest of the morning, everybody, and talk to you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Later.